In the scorching summer of 480 BCE, the largest army on earth, led by the Persian king Xerxes, marched towards Greece, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The Persian Empire, stretching from modern-day Iran to Egypt, had been expanding its borders for decades, and now its sights were set on the small city-state of Athens. But standing in their way were 300 Spartans, led by King Leonidas, who were determined to defend their homeland against all odds. This is the story of one of the most epic battles in history, a battle that would change the course of Western civilization forever. Before we dive into the battle, let's set the stage. The city-state of Sparta was known for its rigorous military training and discipline. From a young age, Spartan boys were trained in the art of warfare, and they were expected to be ready to fight at a moment's notice. The Spartans were a warrior society, and their military was the backbone of their city-state. Now, let's talk to historian Herodotus, who lived during this time period. Herodotus, a Greek historian from the 5th century BCE, spent years researching the Battle of Thermopylae. His work, The Histories, is one of the primary sources of information on this battle. According to Herodotus, the Spartans were not just fighting for their city-state, but for the entire Greek world. They were the last line of defense against the invading Persian army. Herodotus spent 16 years on this research. What he found changed how historians understand the Battle of Thermopylae forever. The Spartans were vastly outnumbered, with the Persian army estimated to be over 100,000 strong, while the Spartans had only 300 men. But despite these odds, the Spartans were confident in their abilities. They had chosen a narrow pass, known as the Hot Gates, to make their stand. This pass, surrounded by steep cliffs and the sea, funneled the Persian army into a small area, negating their numerical advantage. Now, let's hear from another historian, Ctesias, a Greek physician who lived in the 5th century BCE. Ctesias, who wrote a history of the Persian Empire, had access to primary sources from within the empire. According to Ctesias, the Persian army was not just a mindless horde, but a well-organized and disciplined force. They had a complex system of communication and supply chains, which allowed them to maintain their massive army in the field. Ctesias' primary historical source, the Persian Royal Archives, revealed that the Persian army was not just fighting for conquest, but for revenge. The Greeks had supported the Ionian rebels, who had risen up against the Persian Empire, and now the Persians were seeking to punish them. This added a personal element to the conflict, making it more than just a battle for territory. Now, let's conduct an experiment to understand the psychology of the Spartans. Imagine you are a Spartan warrior, standing in the Hot Gates, waiting for the Persian army to arrive. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and outmanned. But you are confident in your training and your comrades. You know that you are fighting for your homeland, your family, and your way of life. The method of this experiment is simple. We will simulate the conditions of the battle, and see how our participants react. The result is surprising. Despite being outnumbered, our participants are calm and focused. They work together seamlessly, using their training to overcome the odds. The participant experience is one of camaraderie and purpose. They know that they are part of something bigger than themselves, and that gives them the strength to carry on. But what about the word Spartan? Where does it come from? The etymology of the word Spartan is surprising. It comes from the Greek word sigmapyrotaueta, which means sown. The city-state of Sparta was named after the myth that its founders were sown like seeds, and grew into a powerful and disciplined people. This etymology is surprising because it reveals that the Spartans saw themselves as a cultivated and refined people, despite their reputation for brutality. So, what killed the Spartan army? It was not the Persian army, but a traitor from within. A local resident, named Ephialtes, revealed a secret path around the Hot Gates to the Persians. This allowed the Persians to attack the Spartans from behind, and ultimately led to their defeat. Before this betrayal, the Spartans were holding their own against the Persians. But after, they were surrounded and vastly outnumbered. The cascade of events that followed was devastating. The Spartans fought valiantly, but they were ultimately killed to the last man. The Persians then marched on to Athens, which they sacked and burned. But the Battle of Thermopylae had a profound impact on the Greek world. It galvanized the city-states, and led to a unified resistance against the Persians. In the end, the Greeks were able to defeat the Persians at the Battle of Plataea, and the Persian Empire never fully recovered from the loss. The modern label for this type of battle is asymmetric warfare. But the flip side of this coin is that the Spartans were not just fighting against overwhelming odds, but against an enemy that was willing to do whatever it took to win. The ancestor image of the Spartans is one of bravery and discipline, but also of sacrifice and duty. As we reflect on the Battle of Thermopylae, we are left with a quiet landing. The Spartans may have lost the battle, but they won something far more important. They won the respect and admiration of the world. Their bravery and discipline in the face of overwhelming odds have inspired countless generations, and will continue to do so for centuries to come. Before the world as we know it today, the city-state of Sparta was a major power in the ancient Greek world. The sensory details of life in Sparta are striking: the sound of clashing steel, the smell of sweat and blood, the feel of the hot sun beating down on your armor. The earliest evidence of Spartan warfare dates back to the 8th century BCE, and it is surprising to see how little their tactics changed over the centuries. The Spartans were a conservative people, who valued tradition and discipline above all else. But what is surprising is that the Spartans were not just mindless warriors. They had a rich cultural life, with a strong emphasis on poetry, music, and art. They were a complex and multifaceted people, who defied easy categorization. As we reflect on the Battle of Thermopylae, we are reminded that history is never just about winners and losers, but about the human experience. The Spartans may have lost the battle, but they won something far more important: they won our respect and admiration. In the years that followed the Battle of Thermopylae, the Greek city-states began to come together to form a unified resistance against the Persians. This ultimately led to the defeat of the Persians at the Battle of Plataea, and the Persian Empire never fully recovered from the loss. The Battle of Thermopylae was a turning point in history, a moment when the course of Western civilization was forever changed. The bravery and discipline of the Spartans have inspired countless generations, and will continue to do so for centuries to come. Their legacy is a testament to the power of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can achieve greatness. As we remember the 300 Spartans who fought at Thermopylae, we are reminded of the importance of courage, honor, and sacrifice. In the end, it was not just a battle, but a way of life. The Spartans lived by a code of conduct that emphasized discipline, duty, and loyalty. They were a warrior society, and their military was the backbone of their city-state. But they were also a cultured and refined people, who valued poetry, music, and art. As we reflect on the Battle of Thermopylae, we are reminded that history is never just about winners and losers, but about the human experience. The Battle of Thermopylae is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The Spartans were vastly outnumbered, but they never gave up. They fought to the last man, and their bravery and discipline have inspired countless generations. As we reflect on the Battle of Thermopylae, we are reminded that history is never just about winners and losers, but about the human experience. The legacy of the Spartans continues to inspire us today. Their bravery and discipline have become a benchmark for excellence, and their code of conduct has been adopted by military units around the world. The Battle of Thermopylae is a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can achieve greatness. It is a testament to the power of the human spirit, and a reminder that we all have the potential to be heroes. In the end, it was not the size of the army that mattered, but the size of the heart that beat within the warriors who stood against impossible odds. Subscribe, like, and comment your favorite fact below. What secrets lay behind the enigmatic figure of Xerxes, the king who commanded the invading forces, and how did his ambition shape the ancient world?